across multiple platforms, and you're not siloed into one platform. So app. This is several months ago, by the way, too, guys. It says a social media platform, some says rivals Twitter. You may have noticed it plans to join the Fediverse. It says before you can join Threads, a disclaimer pops up. Future versions of Threads will work within the Fediverse, a new type of social media network that allows people to follow and interact with each other on different platforms. So what exactly does this mean? It says, imagine posting a tweet on Facebook or liking an Instagram reel on TikTok. So if you think about it, this is something that Facebook has already done within its own little ecosystem with Instagram, whereas it's possible for your Instagram reel to appear onto Facebook. It says the Fediverse, a combination of the words federation and universe, is a loose collective of decentralized servers that operate using open source standards. And unlike traditional social networks, the Fediverse allows users to connect and communicate with others seemingly across multiple platforms. Okay. So proponents say it's similar to the early days of the internet when big tech hadn't yet created social media sites that rely on advertising, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So you can now have an account on one service and you can post on other services. So in order to be a part of this, you have to join the federation, I guess, essentially. You have to join a federation. So that's what they say Threads was looking to do. They're looking to join a federation so that if someone is on Mastodon, which I knew was a part of the Fediverse, that they could post from their Mastodon account directly onto Threads without like being a part of the Threads environment. So it says that other people can read your stuff so that they can connect to you. You can have relationships and friendships. So like right now, we do all this cross promotional stuff. Like, you have, you post something on Fanbase, then you post something on Instagram. You do all these things in hopes that you can connect with different audiences. Essentially, what they're saying is that the Fediverse removes your need to do that because your content will be discoverable and be able to be interacted with across the quote-unquote federation or across these multiple platforms. Okay, so it says, so think of it like email. There are many different email domains available from Gmail to Outlook. Even if you use a different service than your friend, you can still communicate with one another. So we are using social networking for what was originally meant for, which is giving us better social relationships. And talks about how the Fediverse started. No, okay. So it says, why are people moving to the Fediverse? So when scrolling on Facebook, TikTok, or mainstream social platforms, you might notice content from accounts you don't follow. Those platforms use an algorithm to show you content based on the data that they gathered about you. The Fediverse doesn't rely on algorithms or data scraping in the same way. Mastodon, for example, will show you the content of people and instances you follow in chronological order. This creates less stressful environments because your feed isn't designed to keep you on the platform. Okay, that's cool. It said the servers that make up the Fediverse cost money to run, but revenue from advertisements aren't the primary way of maintaining them. Individuals and groups have their own methods, including subscription fees and donations. Okay. So it says the Fediverse is customizable. The users can follow or create their own instances that appeal to their interests and values. Okay, by joining this kind of instance or moving accounts between different. Okay, all right. So, anyways, so is Meta welcome? Okay, we'll read this part. So it's an additional. It's a both Pomodoro and Keegan see Meta's potential moving to the universe as an opportunity to grow and expand the space. Obviously, so because Meta is a 3-4 platform giant, right? So in addition to potentially making the interface less clunky and more user-friendly, Keegan said its larger platform would bring more users to interact with. By having an organization like Meta express an interest in building and scaling infrastructure. Okay. All right. Trying to see if there's anything else that was good in this article. So anyway, so that is the Fediverse. I haven't really heard it since the Threads crazy moment that happened in Threads. I haven't really heard anyone talking about the Fediverse anymore, but I do believe it will become a thing at some point. And since we're on the topic,
chat. Sorry about that. But you have to read the chat a little.
Okay.
Tim dropped some really information about it. He knows about it.
Tim, can you come up and talk about it for a second?
He's not coming on the stage anymore. 2024, he's only going to be in the audience.
You lying, really, Tim? That's what you doing to us?
Oh,
That's
wait a minute.
I said.
Oh, I heard that. I heard you say that, but Tim, I never got a chance to get to know you. Really, we never got a chance to converse. So, can you make an exception just this one time and don't deny me the opportunity to hear your wonderful, beautiful voice?
He probably won't, but maybe he will, because he ain't white boy Tim today.
Okay.
He in his yellow suit today.
Well, Tim, I'll be honest with you. I do ping people like indiscriminately. Do I follow you? So you probably don't come up though, because I haven't followed you. When I only do that like when it's educational rooms though, because how do I know who wants to see the stuff, right? I don't want to be like, oh, this person isn't going to be interested. So I do ping people, but I don't ping people to like social rooms or nothing like that. I mean, I might ping you if I'm trying to get you there because I know you. Tim, decentralization, blue sky. Okay. Tim, don't do us like that. Come on, we need to hear your voice.
He's standing firm. God. I understand. Tim. If he's standing firm on it, don't make him break his rules.
No. That might be you know what? I hate when people do this to me. And why would Joyce, you talked me into it. It's Joyce's fault, Tim. Don't blame.
Oh, okay. I'll take the fall.
But shine not too much on Joyce.
Yeah, it's Joyce's because she was like, she was like, did you read the chat? See, I was minding my business. I wasn't even reading the chat.
I know. I got to come back and check you because you be ignoring us chatters. I'm a chatter.
I do sometimes, but I do be looking at it. But sometimes, you can't catch everything. But had you not would have drawn my attention.
Your mod should help you. That's what your mods are there for. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm bad about it. And also checking my back channel. People be like, I'd be like, I had to check I just had to check my back channel. Let's see. I got, how about, oh, okay. No. Yeah, I definitely got to get better at that. And the problem is because I be doing other things too, like on my computer, half working and stuff like that. So that's another reason I don't always be one. I've been talking a lot today. Yeah.
And to be honest, people can't even cut in because you be going. Take a breath.
Yeah, you just gotta cut.
Yeah, you gotta like slow down a little bit, just to give people a chance. Just a little. I love you.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's actually, but I do, you have to understand there's different styles. Like if I'm teaching on a subject, I do want to be interactive. But I'm not going to take a breath. I don't expect any educator in this community to necessarily take a breath. Like he can teach. I just want him to stop every once in a while to check to see if anybody has any questions or feedback. So it just depends on the situation. But yeah, no, I definitely can go. But y'all just gonna have to put up with that if I'm teaching. I do stop. I definitely stop and ask questions if anybody got any questions, any feedback, whatever. On the subject matter. So that's the nature of that. Okay. All right. So we talked about this. So I just wanted to introduce the Fediverse. No real reason. Just because we was talking about WhatsApp and Facebook.
Do you think that's part of the Fed now? Part of that, like how they're instilling that whole partial decentralized into the payment or the transaction industry, do you think?
I have no idea. I've heard about Fed now. It just sounds like a way for the government to be able to tax me more or track me down. Fed now, and I don't think so. I don't think there's any relationship.
Well, Fed now is doing. They're part of the Federal Reserve, So it's like that extra layer when you're making transactions. It's now being filtered to there first. So it's a filtering system. And then on top of that, the transactions are real time, so they're supposed to be more instant. You know what I mean? But if they're instant payments, so that means like if you do refunds, You know how it took, how long? 5 to 7 days?
Mm-hmm.
These refunds should be in real time, too. At least that's what I'm understanding.
Oh, that would be nice.
So
I want my
the
money.
instant
I want my
part
money
of
back
it
now.
Yeah, but then we don't know what that instant actually is doing on the other end, and that's why banks had to go through a certain process to get approved. But they have over 100, 200 banks. I don't know how many are already having it filtered into the system. So I just want to see how that affects you.
Well, see, like,
you know what I mean?
Well, like, when we get into like a lot of the tech stuff, especially when we talk about security, we talk about encryption, we talk about decentralization. And so one of the things that a lot of us don't pay attention or not aware of is that the encryption that's being used, especially on the blockchain, when you look at the hashes that's being used for wallets and, for these transactions, these blockchain transactions, there are really serious threats to this encryption, with the emerging technologies. One of those things is quantum computing. And one of those threats is the emergence of AI. Mm-hmm. And so when we have all this infrastructure that's dependent on these things that are very vulnerable to these emerging tech sectors, that's where, I have concern. Until, what they call it, like quantum encryption or whatever is kind of a thing that's kind of more commonplace and more mandated, actually being utilized. All these existing systems are vulnerable. And the problem is the people who have access to the best AI and the best quantum computers are the very reasons why you want to be decentralized. And so we're talking about big governments and big corporations who have access to the things that can decrypt these things. And so all the reasons why you would go to it is kind of null and void and moot. And so those are the type of things that a lot of people either are not aware of or ignoring or not paying attention to. And these are big problems.
Oh, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you there. We definitely have some real issues, and we probably need to have more conversation about it. Tim says,
ooh, is it me or are you real low?
My finger was over my mute button.
Oh,
okay. So Tim says, Bashan, decentralization is a precursor to blockchain. Okay, agreed. Pay attention to the signs. This is big business stuff. Twitter will soon be decentralized. Definitely agree with that.
Well, like I said, the issue.
Tim, I'm sorry. I got to try this again. I'm sorry. Hold on a second, Lord. I'm sorry. Tim, I popped a few buttons open. Will that lure you to the stage by any chance? Tight skirt? No? Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
I popped a few buttons open.
Hey, that was my best stuff. I don't know what else to try after that if that don't work. Okay, go ahead.
You're better off coming up with a really interesting topic that you can't help to comment on. That is your best chance.
Right, I should trigger him. How can we trigger him?
Trying to lure him with that kind of stuff is just, yeah.
Ain't gonna work.
I know what we can do.
It may even be insulting.
It might be insulting.
We can ping them. All of us should ping them.
No, then he'll run out the room and won't be in the chat.
No, you gotta.
Hold on. I know what to say. Tim, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Twitter will never be decentralized.
That's not how you do that.
That's not going to happen. Okay. Anyway.
Especially that doesn't even sound like it doesn't sound sincere.
He said he hates to be pinged.
And you're not making a valid point. You're also not making a valid point that would make him or provoke him to want to respond.
Okay, well, you do better than the Lord. How about you try? You know what I'm saying?
He hates to be pinged.
Wait
I think we all should just
I didn't ping
him. All of us just ping him.
Oh,
just keep pinging him.
Like no matter where he's at on the app.
I think decentralization. I think it's more of an idea, than a reality when it comes to most things. Most things that are decentralized have things, have a lot of influence by certain bodies that kind of make them not so decentralized. Like there's always something central. There's something decentralized, for whatever reason may be. I don't think anything's going to ever be truly decentralized. And like I said, and part of the reason is because there's always a need or a use for governance. And then two, the less governed something is, then that's where some of these vulnerabilities that we talked about is going to occur. And so, it's a great idea. It sounds good in theory, but it's even when we talk about Bitcoin and stuff now, right? And so now, everybody's buying and selling Bitcoin because it was a way to make money, not really be even based on the tech, but it's a way to make money. And so, but the thing about when it comes to these marketplaces is the price of these coins is being manipulated, and the people who control the price of these coins, just like in any other market, because is those who control the asset on a marketplace dictate the price. I don't care if it's it's the crypto market, if it's the stock market, if it's the forex market, if it's a futures market, like all of those, like those who control the asset, those are the ones that dictate the price. And so what's going on in these places, you have all these people hodling, but the people who are hodling are not affecting the price unless they decide to sell off their stuff. They sell off their stuff and they kind of follow the plans of those who controlling the asset on that market. And then these are the type of things that take place. But we everybody's saying, oh, it's just supply and demand. Supply and demand is part of it, but if you're not in control, then you're not really dictating anything. And so you got to have the majority of that asset, so you decide that it's going to sell at this and not at that. And so to touch on what I immediately was asking about stock market, remember, do you know what a market maker is, and what their place was, or what their role was in dictating price when it comes to the stock market? Now a lot of things are kind of computerized. You got all these algorithms manipulating this. It's crazy. That's why a lot of people don't make the kind of money they used to. The algorithms are so advanced, right? That you can place an order, the algorithms can see your order and then place an order, counter your order before your stuff is even finished processing. It's that rigged. It's that crazy.
So, the Lord, what do you think is...
Where is Amelie? Oh, I see Amelie. I'm about to say, I'm like, he's talking to Amelie. I don't see Amelie, but I see. Mm-hmm. What's your question?
That's another person. Mill, I've seen Mill. Why you been in rooms and ain't been coming to stages? I need answers.
What was your question, Bashan?
Okay. I'm gonna stop harassing people. I hate when people do it to me. It's so funny, and I do it to everybody else. That's so crazy. What do you think the future of decentralization when it comes to banking? What do you think, or financial transactions?
Okay. What would be the benefit of those who control the money not controlling the money? Don't worry, I'll wait.
There would be no benefit.
Exactly. So it's never going to happen. Never going to fucking happen.
I mean, but isn't it happening though already?
I mean, they're gonna give you the appearance of it being decentralized, but it's not going to be decentralized. Why would they do something that's fucking stupid?
Because maybe who controls the money, maybe those who are in control will no longer be in control. Maybe we'll go to a situation where corporations will control. As long as they're making their money, that's all that they would care about.
Keep in mind, as long as someone's controlling it, then is it really decentralized? Someone's always going to control it. There's nobody's going to have control and be like, oh, I don't want to control this no more. I'm doing it for the greater good, says one very, very naive person. But most of the other people are going to seize that moment and control it. There's no benefit to the people controlling the money, not controlling the money. And so, like I said, it will never fucking happen.
Yeah, they trying to use the merchant services, the POS, to transaction things from a Bitcoin, and what is it? What are those Dogecoin, Ethereum? They're trying to use one of those to actually make payments, like purchases.
I mean, they've been doing that, but the issue
is it's hard because it's not the same, and it's still a high risk, and the fees are so high. I don't process those type of payments, but I know some people that are. But I don't think I will ever process payments.
Well, many of the blockchains, they have the transaction fees that's within, the chains themselves. Then on top of that, you have the processing fees that would, these processing companies usually charge anyway. On top of that, these interchange fees and things of that sort. And so, trying to make crypto so that it spends like, Visa and, and MasterCard, it was like, has been ideal. It's just incredibly hard to implement because, one of the things, like when you look at Bitcoin, right? And so Bitcoin, I think you can do like, like something like 1,000 transactions. It's like, or I don't even think it's even that high, but it's significantly lower amount of transactions you can do per minute or even per second than Visa can do per second. And so until that gets corrected, it's not really that viable. And then third of all, the issue is when you look at Bitcoin or any of these things, they don't have prices on their own. All their prices are based on fiat. It's not like they're selling stuff like, oh, this costs this many Bitcoin. It's this much Bitcoin based on how it translates to US dollars or euros and things of that sort. And so still, those things are kind of standing on their own, which they're not, because people are treating these cryptocurrencies like what? Like securities instead of actual currency, for one. And that's where that's where the SEC came into play. The Securities and Exchange Commission, because they're treating this shit like securities. And that's how a lot of people got fucked up. If they wasn't treating them like securities, they'd be much better off. But since they are, because you know why? Everybody want to emulate models that they already know instead of fully taking advantage of what these platforms actually offer on themselves and utilizing to their strengths and weaknesses. They always want to emulate something. It's just like the people who want to make all these metaverse worlds that look just like the fucking real. What is the fucking point? I don't want to do a bunch of stuff I can already do in real life. I want to do stuff I can't do in real life. I want to have a metaverse where I can fucking fly. I can shoot lasers. I got superpower. Like we should be having mutant battles and shit in the fucking metaverse. Why the fuck are we doing basic shit like walking the streets of New York? For fucking why?
Okay, so all right, so okay, I get it. The decentralization of banking will never fucking happen. Got it. Never. Where do you think blockchain technology and financial transactions, in what ways do you feel like there is viability and like maybe some use cases that you do see happening?
Well, without, once again, quantum computing and where AI is, I thought it had more of a future than it actually. I thought it had more of a future in times past than I do now. I really think that everything is really I think AI is going to change. It's already changing, but it has the potential to change how we do all of these things in general. I think it's going to get to the point where we all going to have our own AI that's going to defend us against other people's AIs. I think that's where it's going. And so we're worried about blockchain and decentralization. And it's just I don't even think those things are really going to be factors no more, because AI is going to be at the point where it's going to be able to break these decryptions. Break these encryptions, just like quantum is going to be at a level where it can. And the crazy is all the ways that AI can break encryption is crazy. They can do it based off keyboard sounds now. Shit is crazy. It's not crazy. It's not as crazy as you think, but it's crazy when it's like, dang. So somebody could be around while you type in your password, and because of how your keyboard sound, like distinct sounds of it can decrypt your password. That's crazy. And so I'm not really too sure. Like I was more optimistic about it, like maybe 1 to 2 years ago than I am now. At this point, I kind of even feel like it's a waste of time. And because and the thing about it is, plenty of things have had that way where it could be a really good technology, but it never really catches on where it needs to be, and then something better comes along. So I think it's more likely that something better comes along, because the thing about it is there's too many weaknesses to the blockchain space when it comes to actually operating as far as a financial system. That by the time those things are fixed, I think something better will be in place. Hell, you better ask AI to create something better, and it'll probably be able to do it. So that's what I'm looking
at. Okay. We have excuse me. We're talking about the bots that come into the room.
Nobody uses Solana though. That's the thing. Like most people haven't even heard of Solana. And this is what we're talking about. So yeah, they may have solved the problem. What they did not do is solve the problem of what? Being marketing themselves to the point where they are household names. And so what do they got to do now to become a household name? Just simply having superior technology doesn't mean you're going to be viable to use. There's been plenty of technologies that has been superior in the past that never seen the light of day.
Okay, how do you think the average person, when it comes to financial transactions, will use the blockchain? Let's say in, I don't know, 3 to 5 years.
They won't.
They won't.
They
okay.
won't.
Okay. Not even you don't think that this is going to be a way that people will buy real estate?
No.
No.
Here's my question, right? This is what I look at, right? And so it's just like when people were trying to, utilize it, like, oh, it's going to save the music industry and we should use it in the music industry. Everything, like, there's nothing that blockchain brings to the table in that regard that wasn't already something you could do without the blockchain. And that's the thing. What do you really need the blockchain for when it comes to real estate?
I mean,
and then two, how much effort would it take to convert the current real estate system to the blockchain? Right? It would take an enormous amount of effort, and how worth it is it going to be to do so? And so, like, I hear you, but no, then they're not going to be doing it.
Okay, so I don't want to get this wrong. So I want you to unpack this. Straight transactions. So from my understanding, financial technology companies, one is like, they were able to do things. One was, there's a big article, I wish I had it, that talked about financial tech companies being able to help like those who couldn't be held by like non-traditional banks. And so I'm trying to remember how this was worded. Basically, the thought process, from what I understand, is by using blockchain technology to do like a real estate transaction, that you were somehow inherently able to cut out the middleman. And like, for instance, it would give the opportunity, maybe more so for like even things like private lending or something of that nature. and where you're able to cut out the middleman, and then these transactions are considered to be more secure because it is on the blockchain, and then also to be less costly. Is that not the real reality of what's happening when people use the blockchain to do real estate transactions?
I mean, to a degree, you can cut out the middleman anyway, but not really. I mean, because you're adding more things to the process, and also the thing about the real estate thing that people really don't talk about is like, most of the people that are doing the big things in real estate are operating off of a super dated system. So you're actually people who are like dinosaurs and convert to like something that's more bleeding and cutting edge, and that's just not likely to happen. Like real estate is run by the old. It's not ran by the new. Like it's new people doing it, but not enough to really influence how stuff works.
Vashawn, are you? Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, okay. Go ahead, Podgy.
Are you familiar with FTX?
FTX. I don't know. It seems like a network television station, so I'm thinking talking about that. So apparently, I'm not.
FTX, they had a whole